So, oh, this, I love this. I love this. Let's see. Oh, I want to talk about that too. Okay, so let's see. Why a gym clip explaining why educated white liberals are so self-hating.
I feel like if
Baldy.
you just look at a lot of these protests and
Take it away, baby.
a lot of these events, it's pretty much all white people doing it. And I think it's just upper middle class white people that have lived at the peak of privilege of the entire history of humankind. And they have some sort of internalized guilt for that, probably some of it deserved. And they constantly look for other causes to lash themselves onto because they realize they have enough intelligence to realize that their existence and their lifestyle is funded by the exploitation, abuse, and suppression of people in second and third world countries. And that gives them an internal sense of doubt, guilt, and, basically feeling like they're a bad person. And so they constantly look to find these other things to justify their lifestyle, which victimize themselves. That's why.
Not bad. Not bad.
Yep.
I would also like to add that if they truly wanted to fix that, one of the other sides of that is they know they're not talented or smart enough to actually do anything to change the world, which is why they stand up and scream at AOC about how she's a fucking genocider and all this other bullshit when she has nothing to do with any of this shit. They're pro-Palestine protesters were screaming at her that she's a genocider and all this other bullshit, right? Obviously, as much as I don't like AOC's politics, she has nothing to do with any of that shit, right? She is possibly one of the most pro-Palestine fucking politicians we got, right? She is like the progressive lead in this. So obviously that's what it is. But the problem with the progressive protesters that are screaming at her is they don't understand how politics actually works. They just want it done. And like a toddler who doesn't get what they want, like my son, when he doesn't get what he wants, okay. You're watching this in the future, son. I'm sorry. But you're a toddler and it's annoying. That's how they react because they don't get what they want. And one of them, I think another impetus behind this is not just the guilt, but it's also the fact that they know they're not Elon Musk. They know they're not Peter Thiel. They know they're not Bill Gates. And so they know that they cannot affect great change in the world by themselves. They know they're not smart enough. They know that anything they do will just be grinding through a fucking machine. And so the only way they can do this is by acting like idiots in politics. Because it's the only way they're going to change the world. They refuse to change themselves and instead focus on everything else in the world, thinking that that'll fix them. And it won't. It never will. This is why the advice of get your own shit straight before you start talking about other people's shit is probably a good one. What's the thing? Remove the plank from your own eye before you complain about the speck in your brother's. That's I'm pretty sure that's from the Bible. And yes, 100%. It really does go to the point that it's not just hypocrisy. That's not really the problem. The problem is, how the fuck do you know what's right for the world when you can't even decide what's right for yourself? How do you know if you can't do it for yourself? If you have no discernment in your own life, you can't find a good partner because you have no discernment. Everyone you pick is shit. You can't find a good place to work because everything you pick is shit. Your education was shit and it can't get you a good job because you have no fucking discernment. You literally have the inability to discern anything correct and good in your own life. And yet you expect me to believe that you can understand politics and have a good enough understanding of all of it that you have good discernment in politics when you don't have good discernment in any other part of your life. You're fucking smoking crack. That's what you're doing. And he's not wrong about this. I mean, we all benefit from third world slavery, right? We all benefit from third world slavery. The computer that I'm currently using, like literally everything in front of me, benefit from exploitation and slavery of individuals in the third world. And this is why I find it extremely funny, all these liberal accounts talking about how much free trade is good and all this other bullshit, and talking about, oh, look at all the containers in the Let me see if I can find it. Oh boy, I want to find it. I want to find it. Hang on, where is it? Do I have it? That is the question. Don't know. Yeah, okay, so it's these idiots right here. These are the ones that posted the meme I'm talking about. Aw, come on, come on. No, don't do that. There it is, okay. We have tons of clean energy and clean air. We have to save the planet. Yeah, there you go. This is what I was talking about the other day. This is the account that posted the thing I'm about to talk about. It's basically, here we go. Excuse me, sorry, there you go. I have access to the best goods from around the world. Free trade. Slaves are cheap. Slaves are cheap. Slaves are cheap. They are. This is one of those things. It's like they're not going to talk about this now, even though this was a thing that we were talking about not too long ago about all these billionaires and shit making all this money off the exploitation of people in the third world. All that shit goes out of the fucking window when Trump puts tariffs on all these fucking countries. You know, the same countries that exploit their populations in what we would consider slave conditions and or slave wages and or slave labor. It's just peak. What the fuck are you doing? Are you really turning that around? Now, this is obviously about protectionism versus free trade. True, but the problem is that we don't have free trade. We've never had free trade. There is no such thing as free trade in this world, because all the people that we used to trade with all did not do free trade. We did free trade. They didn't. So we never had free trade. Not really. Okay. Not only that, when we talk about free trade, what are we talking about? Well, most of the stuff is from like China and other places like that. And what do they use? Exploitated labor. That's right. Some of it, not all of it's exploitative. Some of it's really good, right? They actually build factories, and I've seen some of these factories in India where they build stuff, and they look similar, if not more ancient, than the factories that I worked at here. And the people seem to have good, clean working conditions. They have PPE. You know, it looks pretty good to me. I don't know how much money they're making, but it looked okay to me. And so do some of the places in China. But then you look at some of the other places, like, you know, where we get our lithium from, and other places in China where they got to work so long with no breaks and all this other stuff. It's just, but this isn't part of the conversation anymore, because we're banging on Trump. So we obviously can't bring up this, you know, this liberal idea of, well, it's not actually free trade because they have less wage costs because they pay their people pennies on the dollar, right? And you could say that it's, you know, their economies are smaller and that's why their money goes further. So the equation doesn't necessarily make any sense. But when you factor in all those things, and if you normalized all of it, and they'd be making like, you know, 50% less than what minimum wage would here after normalizing for all those things, yeah, that would be bad. That would be very bad. And yet we're not talking about it now because Trump is the one who's shitting on all the companies who are using what they used to call slave labor. Funny how that works. Ain't it? Okay, so let's see. I thought this clip was great. It pretty much explains and encapsulates exactly why the woke mind virus has actually penetrated into the brains of these fuckers. It's because when you do feel guilty about these things, and then you find something that makes you not feel guilty, you latch onto it. And this is why it's almost like a religion. This is why they act the way they do, the same way that Christians and Muslims act the way they do when they're doing their religious shit for God, right? They act irrational, crazed, just out of their fucking minds, because what matters to them has nothing to do with anything in the real world. It has everything to do with whatever the fuck's going on in their head. Whatever their religion tells them. And this is basically a new religion for them. They didn't get rid of God and replace it with, you know, logic and rationality and scientific understanding. They replaced it with a new religion. And this is their new religion. It's based on communist ideology. And it's hilarious to watch them just implode themselves. Like, because if they had any fucking sense at all, they would shut the fuck up about Palestine for right now and let Trump take all the blame. But they don't. They don't. They don't have any sense of strategy or like, because here's the thing. If you want less Palestinians dying, then what you need to do is you need to get the United States of America to stop funding them. And you know how you get them to stop funding them? You don't scream at AOC that she's fucking a genocider and a murderer and all that other shit. You don't do that. That's not what you do. The reason you scream at AOC that she's a murderer and a genocider is because it makes you feel good. That's why you do it. It's a true form of virtue signaling. Just like when Christians pray out in the fucking streets to be seen, it's the same fucking shit. It's a virtue signal. Look how holy I am. Look how pious I am. Oh, won't you look at me? I fucking despise all of that shit. All of it. All of it. All of it. Okay, so